And the client tell him again, look here, the man tell me say it could have worked, and that's what we work with. All I had to do was give him the material, and I already bought all the blocks and all the steel. So that was that. So the lawyer basically put it to him, say the contractor couldn't tell her that, because he would not be able to suck up all of that expense. And the client tell him again, so the contractor told him that he would be paying $4 million extra, because the quantity surveyor report includes for material and labor, and he was paying him in accordance with that report. But he was putting material in it too, because the block and the steel was already there. So him say the contractor told him that him pay $4 million extra because him get the material. So because of that, him could have do the stilts and the basement and the water tank and all that. The lawyer said nothing go so, and they move on. The contractor lawyer now come and say the last payment the contractor received of the 2.5 was used up, because it was payment for work already completed, in addition to the windows that they ordered and installed. And the client come back and I said, no, that wasn't the agreement. I don't pay the contractor for work completed. I pay him for work before him do it. I pay him in advance. So the 2.5 million that I gave him was a work that he was to do, but before him could get to do it, of course, him pass away. Contractor's widow take the stand now. Them ask, one of the questions that they asked her was why she never continued doing the work on site. And she said after the death of her husband, the client just take over the site and never give her a chance to finish the work. So that's why she never finished the work. One of the questions that they asked the widow was, did she know the relationship that the client and her husband had, if they were friends or if they were just, what type of relationship they had? And she said she don't know of them having any type of friend relationship. But when them look back in her first statement when the case just started, she said that they were good friends. So right there, so her story start for now add up, and the judge look on that. So then them ask her how much she know about the day-to-day running of the construction company, if she know what type of arrangements her husband would have made with him. And she just said before he died, she didn't have anything to do with the construction company. So she don't know how the day-to-day runnings went before. It's just since him pass off, she start take it up and try. But soon after the passing of her husband, she shut down the construction company. After the judge listened to the both sides and him consider everything they had to say, him start to give his verdict basically, and him say based on everything that was said, one, he believed that the arrangement is that the client paid the contractor in advance and not the way the widow was saying. Even though the client didn't bring any evidence to prove that he paid him in advance and got back some breakdown of how the cost of the construction was going, because he never received anything like what they originally agreed to, which was after him giving the money, the contractor supposed to give him a paper that show how the money was spent, basically like a receipt, then a report to say I spent this much on material, this much on labor, this much on that, and it come to whatever amount of money he was given. The contractor never gave none of that, because they were basically operating, them a friend and them just a work. And just give the money, the client said the work do, and just believe him that the work was done in the amount that he paid him, but never have no evidence. The judge look on it and say him believe the client that him pay him in advance, and the figures that were given by the widow, by the contractor's wife, to say that the additional work costs X amount of dollars and the value of the work cost this much. The judge tell her that he doesn't know how she arrived at those figures. So he wouldn't accept those costings. And the judge look on it and say, the fact that they proceeded with the work without getting a new costing from the quantity surveyor, that alone would say that the costing that they got from the quantity surveyor was still useful to them, and that was still the basis on which their arrangement was going. And to cover the extra costs, it was as the client said that he provided the material. The judge believed that that's what really happened. So the judge believes that's what really happened. One of the things that the widow said that the 2.5 was used to do was the windows. During the case, she told the court that on the day of her husband's death, windows were being installed and windows were on the site that got stolen. But the judge looked on that and said, for windows to be installed on that day, the windows would have to be fabricated and made before the contractor got the 2.5 million, the last payment. So those window costs would most likely be included in the amount he got before and not the last 2.5. So him just tell her that what she's saying couldn't be true, basically, because that money would already be spent before that 2.5. In the end, the judge ended up ruling in favor of the client and told the widow that she is to return the 2.5 million to the client. So the client ended up winning the case. But for this case, I believe that if they had gotten the quantity surveyor to do a second report to include the additional works, then it wouldn't end up at court, because when the widow come and take over the project now, she would have seen that extra costs, and the quantity surveyor would put in that report that the material that is provided by the client would value X amount and reduce that from the report. But they chose to, not go back to the quantity surveyor and go it on them own, and it might have went well if the contractor never die. Because I think that is where the issue really started. That because somebody new taking over from him who really never knew what was going on, she started to make different claims, and it get kind of messy. But this is another court case that what we're looking at, and I just would like to say that I didn't speak to the quantity surveyor that did the report. I didn't speak to the client. I didn't speak to the widow. I just took this case to look at it so that we can all learn from what happened there, how to operate on our projects going forward. But yeah.